I want to rewind now and talk about, where you grew up in Compton. And tell me, where did you originally grow up? Are you from Compton? What school did you go to?
Okay, my family actually came to Compton in the late 1960s. So my mother and my father, their whole family grew up in Compton. My mother's mother was actually murdered there. So my mom decided to, I never met her, but my mother decided to raise my brother and I in Altadena, which is very similar to Compton. There's, horses and farm area, and it's very similar community. And so that's what my mother was really looking for us to grow up similar to how she grew up. But I grew up in Altadena. I went to John Muir High School in Altadena and went to USC. And actually, my husband and I, our families are from the Altadena area, so I've known him pretty much my whole life. And we started dating when I was a senior in high school, and so we ended up going to the same school. He transferred in after I did, so we both went to USC. And we always worked with youth and really.
How long have you been married?
I've been married for 10 years.
Oh wow, okay, so you all were married, I guess that would be in college, or around a little bit,
We got married in 2003, so we were legally married in college. We had our marriage ceremony after I finished grad school, so in 2005.
Special. So when did you ultimately make the jump back to Compton?
In 2009.
2009?
We had started going to church in Compton and just really doing community service in the city of Compton, so we bought our home there in 2009. And then I later applied for the job in Compton later, so it kind of, everything just worked out within the 3
So
months.
initially when you went to Compton, it was to relocate. And obviously you probably knew that you wanted to hit the ground there running and help the community develop, because you didn't even, as you shared with us earlier, you didn't initially plan to become mayor.
No.
You know that you wanted to participate in the policies and help the development of the city because you were living there. But when you went there, I think ultimately, what did trigger your mind? I mean, was it the people that were saying, hey, Age, you need to run, or what ultimately tells you that, I have to be somebody that has to help this city change and it's going to change?
Our thoughts were really, where we had always discussed, even when we were in college, really going to a community and really, just doing everything we can to make it better. And so we were originally from Altadena, Pasadena area, but it had already turned the page. People don't really remember that, on on Colorado Boulevard, there was prostitution, there were pawn shops, a lot of, similar activity that we have in Compton. And so I just always gravitated toward up-and-coming urban communities because I truly believe there's a vacuum. A lot of times, big corporations and the private sector will always pull out the best and the brightest to come work, for profit and, to really, and there's always a big void in urban communities. And so when I went to Gardena, it was a smaller community, but I saw the same thing with Inglewood. I saw that there was definitely a need for technical assistance and, to really bring the best to our communities. And so it was the same when I went to the city of Compton. And I just saw the huge potential, and my husband and I were really, fearless, I would say. So people, our family and friends were like, why would you move back to Compton? But I told them I truly believe that Compton is going to be a great city. I believe that if Harlem can have a renaissance, I think that Compton can too. And when I look at just economically, being an economic developer, I just look at numbers, and you look at the median home price in Compton is great. Our location advantage is second to none. You could work in El Segundo or Orange County and get there in 15 minutes, and so, or downtown, you can catch the train. And my husband and I actually live in a housing development right next to the Blue Line. So as a planner, I really wanted to, live and work in the same place, because I think it definitely affords you a better quality of life. I never desired to be on the freeway for an hour and a half because, I like to cook dinner and spend time with my family. So it just really afforded me the type of lifestyle that I wanted to live, and to really be able to have the time to give back to my community, to really be involved in my church. My husband and I are youth ministers there, so we spend a lot of time with kids, and we just really wanted to be in a place where we can make a big impact. And so we invested our time to come back there.
A little bit more about your husband. I mean, he seems like a very unique man, and obviously to have someone like, he has to be strong, because I know he can. It's got to be hard to say, come home and your wife's the mayor. Who cooks first? I think he has. No, I'm just teasing.
Now, he is like type A all the way, and I am to a point, but we definitely leave, our work roles at, the door. In my house, he's the head of the household. I'm the wife, and we really work together as a team.
But it's inspiring to hear that, because even in our day and age now, you don't see many young relationships or relationships that last. I mean, even in this new era we're in, that's kind of a lost, I wouldn't even call it an art, but a lost thing that we have in our communities, which are homes, our families, and it sounds like your husband is a strong man. You don't mind me asking, you all have any children?
We don't have kids yet.
Okay, so yeah, I'm figuring out he's got to wait a couple years now.
Right, right, and he's good because he travels a lot with his.
What does your husband do?
He does petrochemical safety management.
Okay.
So he works in oil refineries and establishes their safety culture and makes sure they're compliant with environmental regulations.
Okay.
Really make sure everyone is safe and that they're clean.
Okay. So as far as last question, so there was never any hiccup as far as you and your aspirations with this? Was he kind of like, hey, honey, I don't know if
no. He's like my biggest supporter. He's my biggest fan.
He probably went and signed you up there.
Yeah, he's like always about whatever, I want to do. He's very supportive and I support him as well.
What I really love about the story is that, you ended up coming back to Compton. I mean, even with the history of losing, someone in the family and kind of that mystique. It even reminds me of Serena and Venus Williams, who lost their sister. And a lot of people don't, kind of forget that the reason, at least in my opinion, that they're not connected, and maybe you can be the one to get them a little more connected with the city, is I think because of that loss and that tragedy, that they kind of have somewhat of a bad taste for the city. But having someone like yourself to come back into the city to put your energy and your effort into not only the development, because you can obviously have the control as the mayor to put focuses in certain areas, but I think you just represent being a youth minister, being someone in your church, because a lot of times people understand the community is the community that creates the city. It's the people that help it run. It's the hub, but it's the people and the energy that they put into it. So I think you and your husband are ultimately represent that, and it's not fake, it's not phony. And I've heard that a lot through through interviews with other folk that I've interviewed regarding you, and they all say they're just a wonderful couple. They're authentic, and anytime I hear that word, it's rarely used. I've heard it used a few times. I use it with Barack Obama and certain people, because certain people you just know when they're authentic, and you have that quality about you. And I think your husband obviously gives off that in the community too, because everyone says they're just a lovely couple. They represent what we want our city to represent, and I can even appreciate that for the vision of Compton. Going back a little bit more, tell me about your family, about your mother, about your inspirations. Who, because obviously putting you in school on Saturdays, tell me about your mother and your father.
My mom, she is great. She is truly my inspiration. She's a strong woman, very compassionate, really pushed my brother and I to be the best that we could be. She always set the bar, way above what we ever thought we can reach, and she helped us reach it. She always instilled in me that anything that you want to do that's worth having is going to require sacrifice. There's no easy roads to success, and so she would just give us choices. I remember being in kindergarten and my mother would say, what college are you going to go to? And I would just name out some colleges, and she would say, well, I want to tell you right now that, there's two of you, because I have a twin brother, and, everything requires everything at the same time, and so I'm a single parent. We have one income. I cannot afford to send
all of this in kindergarten.
I'm so serious, because my mother, she would always talk to my brother and I like we were just human, like
I can
like
relate to that. I know what
we
you
had real conversations. We just didn't have the luxury to be oblivious to what was going on, because we had economic hardships and just a lot of things that played single parents. And so my mother, she would always give us, choices, and she would let us make our decisions.
It sounds like your mother, she talked to you, and obviously from a young age, but I guess gave you the reality.
She did.
And she told you, what was going on. Because I think sometimes within households, kids are kind of sheltered, even when they're well, but I can remember or relate to that, because my mother used to do the same thing. It would be, you can't get that car insurance, you can't do this, you have to get a job. And when I was younger, I didn't appreciate it, but when you get older, you say to yourself, now I understand why I'm more frugal. Now I understand why I am where I'm at now, because my mother was saying that. How about your brother? Tell me about your twin brother.
My brother, he's great. We're really, really good friends. Growing up, he was my best friend. He graduated from the University of Wisconsin at Madison.
So she got you both through college. That's wonderful.
And he had an athletic scholarship, and I went through for academics. And so I always focused, when we were in high school, my mother would make sure that he maintained at least a 3.5 average to be able to play football. And that was her standard. It didn't matter if he could play with 2.0. Her standard was a 3.5. And he knew that he had to maintain that. He's super intelligent. I think that he's probably smarter than I am. But, guys sometimes don't apply themselves the same. So he was able to.
He obviously was a star athlete to get a scholarship
was.
to a Division I school. So I think your mother, as you said, to maintain that balance is ultimately what. Is he still participating in sports, or what does he do now, if you don't mind me asking?
He's actually a graduate assistant at the University of Florida.
Wow.
So he's coaching and going to school there.
Wow. So was he here when you got elected, or was he?
He was.
Okay.
He and his family. He has a little girl and a fiance, little baby. So they came out for the election. They'll actually be here next week as well, so we keep in touch and hopefully spend time together.
Do you participate with the University of Southern California, or is there any programs or anything at the school? I mean, obviously I know they must be supremely proud of you.
We're actually going down to speak in the next couple of weeks at the Leadership Summit, so we are definitely looking forward to doing some collaborations and bringing some of their resources into the city of Compton. So definitely some partnership opportunities.
Well, no, I appreciate it, and overall, I just want to say this opportunity to sit down with you has been wonderful, because, as I said, you represent, I think, what America is about at the heart and soul. As you said, you were raised by a single mother who pushed you, and no matter what the circumstance was, to go to college. And I think certain of the small things that trigger us, they happen along the way. And then the people, were there any other inspirations that you had along the way that stand out to you that brought you along this journey? Because you seem such like a dynamic person. I know it was definitely his mother, but was there anyone in college, professors, or maybe there's anyone in the city now that you really hold tight to, that the mentors, or any mentors that you like to talk about or mention?
Yeah, definitely. I come from a really strong family that really focused on education. So, all of my older cousins, they were like really siblings to my brother and I. So they all, attended college and are doing great now and just professional people. And so they would always just mimic the same standard that my mom had for us. And so they were great, always pushing us, supporting us. In college, I had some great professors at USC. I think it's one of the best institutions in the world, just with the curriculum being focused toward real world issues. And so I had a great time being a student there. But Professor Sloan was one of my favorite professors. He was a great instructor and really just brought life to urban policy and planning. So
okay. And what is the doc? Does he still teach?
He's still a professor there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So be sure to give you a shout out, Doc.
Absolutely. And then also Professor Walsh, who is now with Berkeley Sustainable Cities Program.
Okay.
I took a class called Los Angeles and the American Dream as a freshman. And it was like maybe about 1,000 people in the class, and she really shed light to real issues, historic racism and just systematic poverty, and just how things really come about from a systematic way. And I remember being in that class, and a lot of Caucasian counterparts, we're all kids, we're 18 years old, and people are just shocked that racism, was really embedded into our policies. And so
systematic.
Exactly. So I think that really was an eye opener, and it really motivated me to make an impact into my community wherever I decided to locate them. So they were some of my favorite courses. And I have a great team of people that are close to me that really just continue to keep me grounded and just remind me of the great qualities and really push me. I'm probably really even keeled. I'm the kind of person that keeps everybody else calm, but
definitely some fire in there, because you wouldn't
do
that.
I can be, but I'm really just really focused. And my mom always told me that I had tunnel vision. She would tell me that as a little kid, that I'm just non-emotional. So I think that those qualities really help me stay.
For the people in the city of Compton and even the greater Los Angeles that will say, it's a change, but what is really going to change? What does she bring to the table? What do you think you bring to the table that, I don't even want to make you compare yourself to the past mayors or whomever, but what makes you special for this position? Or do you think ultimately what you like to share with the public that you want them to know about you, that you're going to bring to this position and bring to this leadership role?
I think I definitely have a different perspective than some of our past mayors. I've actually worked for cities in community development, for 10 years. I went to school, have my bachelor's and my master's in policy planning and development. So I definitely bring a wealth of information and perspective to the position. Really being an urban planner, a great skill set to have when you're really planning the future of a city and really bringing people together. I worked as a community organizer and just making sure that you reach people. And so I think that I'm definitely coming on a larger scale and being able to build coalitions and really change the way that the city operates, to be more transparent and to really inspire people. First time that I've seen in the community where people are excited about elections and they're excited about the new leadership and they're just ready to chip in and make sure that we move forward together. So it's really inspiring just to see the level of interest from the community, because in many urban areas, voter apathy is truly real, and people don't really usually get involved in their government. So I think that I definitely bring just a fresh breath of air and definitely some hope into the community.
Speaking of that, and just some current, and we'll close shortly, but what are some of your feelings on the recent Supreme Court rulings that we've seen out here with the affirmative action ruling and also the voting rights? Do you have anything that you'd like to share on
I
those?
do. You know, I am a student of history, and I'm just so appreciative of the sacrifices that were made, you know, before us and that enable us to be where we are today and to do what we do. And so being able to maintain voter rights are really important for the sustainability and security of our nation. And we have come so far over the past 100 years, and I always look toward, you know, what is the state of the nation, the state of our republic, where are we moving forward to be more progressive and to be able to reach the people and to encourage voters and not to discourage voters. And so it was a little disappointing, well, a lot of disappointment for the Supreme Court's ruling, but I hope that we can definitely bring some positive change and really make sure that we educate one another to make sure that people are properly registered to vote ahead of time and that we really share that information. And I stated on my Facebook yesterday that, you know, our forefathers that really fought and led the civil rights movement, they handed the baton to us, so now it's our turn to pick it up and to make sure that our young people and that those people that are disenfranchised are informed, educated, and empowered to educate their right to vote.
I really appreciate you saying that, because back to, like I said, the current present day, we see a disconnect, I think, even in our community, and even in me as being a younger executive and someone in my position, and that's why I'm inspired by you, seeing you. But unfortunately, it's not too many, as many as there should be, I should say. So I think for us to continue to put, as you said, awareness out there and to be representatives for our community, seeing is believing. And I think you represent that, and when people see you, you give them confidence. So I'm really excited about you leading Compton into the new era, and also just hitting the ground running, because I think ultimately Compton needs that momentum.
Yes.
And it needs someone that is going to have hands-on approach. And as you said, with urban development being your core of what you bring to the table, obviously you understand how core that is for the city of Compton, and trying to get the workers and everything to connect, and the job training and the skills and the education. It obviously lets me know that that you're the person for this job, and I do appreciate the time sitting here with you. Before we close, is there anything that you would like to share with the city of Compton or our constituents and our readership before I let you go?
Now we're looking forward to partnership from people inside the community and outside the community to really move my vision forward for the city of Compton. I think that we have a great opportunity and that we need to seize it, and that it's going to take partnerships and collaboration to make those visions a reality.
Okay. And if they want to get hold of you or send a letter out, what's the best way? I mean, we have this new social media. Is there anything that, what's the best way if they want to get in contact with your office or send any recommendations or have any questions for you? How can the public get hold of you?
Well, I'm definitely on social media. I have a Twitter account. It's Asia Brown 4, number 4 mayor.
Okay.
I also have Facebook, just Asia Brown. I respond to my messages. People inbox me all the time.
I'll give you credit for that, because I can't respond to mine. Stop inboxing.
I respond to them, at least now. I'm try my best to continue that. But definitely through City Hall, they can contact the city manager's office. If they want to send letters, they can mail it to 205 South Willowbrook, Compton, California, 90220. I don't have my office phone number yet, so I'll be able to provide that information.
And when is the official transition? When do you officially take office? Because I know as of now you're the mayor-elect, but when do you officially take office? When will your first day or your first?
I'll be officially the mayor of Compton on July 1st, but I'll be sworn in via community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's right around the corner. So, but once again, I do appreciate your time. I appreciate your effort. I appreciate your energy. You're a walking inspiration for us all. You give me confidence. Just seeing you here, that I'm like, I got to get on my game a little more. No, but seriously, you're a walking inspiration for all ages, because, and not just the younger generation, because in your position, you are the community's leader, and it's from old to young to newborns, and I think we all appreciate you in your journey, and anything that the Los Angeles Sentinel can do to support you in the LA Watts Time, we're here to support you. We consider ourselves the voice of the community, speaking for ourselves, and obviously we want to be sure that we continue to support the city of Compton and the endeavors and outreach that you all do. So best of luck, and may God bless you on your journey.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much, Miss Mayor-elect Asia Brown, future mayor of the city of Compton.
Thank you.